Welcome to Morning Infusion with Dr. V. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a hospice nurse and an entrepreneur? Well, my name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the owner and the CEO of VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators for Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goals come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals and to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter and Nurse Nurturer, VP Nursing, and on Instagram. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com. And remember to click the Calendly link above if you want to create another stream of income and leverage the knowledge that you already know as a nurse. Our special guest today is Kemeisha Imari. Now, I want you to go ahead. So I want you, thank you for
Thank you.
coming on and sharing
Absolutely.
your vast amount of knowledge with our listeners. So give us a brief bio of you and what your primary reasoning was for becoming a nurse.
Hi. Well, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here. So,
Sweet.
I grew up in Jamaica. I came here when I was 20, and I attended college in Jamaica before I came here, but it has always been in my heart to be a nurse.
Okay.
I went to college for teaching initially. And when I came here and I had the opportunity to go to school again, I decided that I would do what it is that was purpose in my heart for so long, which was to be a nurse. So that's what I pursued. One of two of the things that really drove me to being a nurse was my father having a stroke and then seeing my grandmother having dementia. Those were two of my main driving factors. And it's funny how things work out because those are two of the things that I most commonly deal with now
Wow.
as a hospice nurse, mainly with patients who have dementia. So it has come around full circle to some extent.
And you can understand from from the family side, that's for sure. So that's,
Absolutely.
you hate for it to happen in your family, but it works. All things. I always say that things are not happening to us; things are happening for us, right? And
All things
so,
work together.
all things work together for the good of those that love the Lord.
Amen.
Now, you work in hospice. Now, what was your primary reasoning for going into this specialty? Because hospice is a little different in that you get attached to the patients and then they pass away. So what was your main reasoning for it?
It was a bit different for me. I really did not plan to be a hospice nurse,
Okay.
but while working on the floor, I did have several encounters of death. My first encounter was beyond scary. I never thought that I would want to experience that ever again. Like, I was a totally new nurse on the floor, had no concept of hospice really, other than just knowing what the word means, never encountered anyone who actively passed within my immediate caregiving setting. So when my first patient died, I didn't see it, but I did see the symptoms that led up to that. And it was absolutely horrifying. The second patient that I encountered who passed, I was more aware of what hospice was and what all the symptoms were that were affiliated with the dying process. This person had a pacemaker and they made the decision to turn it off. So when they did, you could actually see slowly the process unfolding. And it was more of a pleasant experience because the family was in tune and grasp the concept more of what was happening and more open and willing to allow it to happen as it were. Unlike my first experience where the family was totally not ready for hospice, did not want the patient to go into hospice, and so they sent him to the floor that I worked on as a new nurse. Um, so yeah, two totally different experiences, with the latter being more pleasant. And I thought, maybe this is something that I could do. But even with that thought, I never really thought of pursuing it. It kind of just sort of happened. I went for an interview um, with a company that had home health and hospice. And
Mhm.
it just so happened that I went to the hospice section instead of the home health section. And next thing I knew, I was a hospice nurse. That it's been 3 years. So
I love
yeah,
it. I love it. Those conversations are really hard conversations to have. I remember being in the emergency department and even some of the physicians not having comfort in having those conversations.
usually.
But when you have patients who are, you know, what happens to your patients is they go through this process where they're poked and they're prodded, and the family doesn't really understand that sometimes. It really is something that, you us as nurses, we're the integral part of that, right? We're the integral part to explain that this is what your family member is going to go through. Ultimately you can make this decision, but if they've already made the decision that they have a living will and that they don't want to be intubated and they don't want
Right.
poked and prodded, then this is where we should leave it. And so having those conversations
It's
has
really hard.
helped me throughout my career and helped the physicians and the other nurses, and just being bold about it and
Mm,
saying, I know this is not good. I know this is something that's going to be final, but at the end of the day, this is what your family member would have
family
wanted.
wishes.
And so, especially if they already have a living will, and you can tell them that. Now, tell us a story without violating HIPAA, of course, that has touched your heart and made you know that hospice was the right fit for you.
Well, there are many stories
Uh-huh.
actually, but ultimately what it comes down to is being a part of the patient's journey at the end of their life,
Mhm,
giving them the best quality care that they're looking for. Not just most of my patients that I encounter are have cognitive deficits. So they either have dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson or something that affects their cognitive abilities. So it's not always that they're able to have that fluid conversation that lets you know that they appreciate everything that you're doing. But when you see the smile on their face, or when the family express such immense gratitude to you at the end of it, maybe not during it because they're still, working through their emotions and stuff, and sometimes their emotion doesn't necessarily correlate to them being gracious or having any amount of gratitude for what you're doing in the moment. But at the end of it, when they send you that message to say, I acknowledge what you did and
mhm.
I appreciate you, and there's no way I could have gone through it without you, or without the services that your team provided. It just makes such a great difference. And most recently, I had a pastor who had um, Alzheimer's early onset. And during the process, when his cognitive deficit started diminishing and his ability to communicate was no longer as it once was, um, so I it's
Take your
you know
time.
it's emotional. With every patient it's different, and everyone is not always as emotional as the next patient. But for him, the thing that comforted him was me reading uh, Bible scriptures to him from his Bible.
I love it. I love it.
And he was so agitated, and you can tell he was just not rested. But the minute I started reading to him, he became so quiet.
Oh,
His demeanor changed. Like, I don't think any medication that I would have given him would have calmed him down like that. So each person is different, and you just have to meet each person at where they are with whatever it is that comforts them in the end to bring them to that place to where they can transition to the next life. And give the family peace and give you peace too, knowing that you did everything possible for them that brought them comfort at the end of their life.
That's very intuitive for you to have known that, that brought him peace. That's super intuitive. And just to know that part of him, that is, I applaud you. I applaud you. This can be this can be tough sometimes because you get attached to patients knowing that you are taking care of them in their last days. Now, what do you do for yourself to protect against burnout that is so prevalent in this specialty of nursing? Because hospice nurses, dialysis nurses, and emergency and critical care nurses have the highest burnout rate of all nurses. So what do you do in order to protect yourself?
It has been a learning process for me.
Gotcha.
And one of that process, I had to make intentional decisions to take care of me. Um, it started with me just having digestive unrest. Like, I'd feel offset symptoms after I eat. So you take a Tums, and
Hmm.
then you start gaining weight, and you think, oh, I know I'm stressed, whatever, but you continue exercise and you eat right and such. For me, my weight just became a roller coaster. Lost it, gain it, lost it, gain it. But I have people ask me, are you pregnant? Like, it was
Wow.
that kind of a question. Um, so I
You
knew
tell them
something.
they're not supposed to ask you if you're
Right?
pregnant. That is
No,
not a question
they're
they're supposed
bold.
to ask you.
They're bold. So I knew something was off with me and just needed changing. So I started also having vision changes where I had to wear glasses. I couldn't see to drive home, like just couldn't sleep at night. It was just crazy amount of changes that started to happen. But for me, I knew I did not want to take standard pharmaceuticals because, again, I have a patient population that I get to see a lot of med lists and see things that they've been on for years and know their history and stuff like that. And for most patients, the myriad of symptoms that they have from taking standard pharmaceuticals that didn't really give them the comfort or resolution that they were looking for with the anxiety or the stomach upset or discomfort, bloating, gastritis, whatever it is that was happening. Just taking standard stuff did not necessarily give them that rest. All that I saw happening was that they would take an increase in medication or they would take a stronger medication. And 40 years later, they're still taking an increase in medication or a stronger medication. And these medications are only meant for you to take 14 days, not for 14 years. So I wanted a natural solution for myself. And I believe that God has given us everything that we need to thrive, survive, heal, and restore. So I knew there had to be a natural alternative. So I started, experimenting and mixing stuff, and I just wanted a simple solution that worked. And when I came across a mental wellness company that offered everything all in one package, not just for my mental health, but also for my gut and all the issues that I was having with not being able to sleep at night, having anxiety, having my weight fluctuating ridiculously and not being able to control it despite the exercises that I was doing. Um, it answered basically all those problem areas that I was having. So that's something that I started, just being intentional about the supplements that I was taking, and it has made night and day difference for me. I don't wear glasses anymore
Wow.
um, because my stress level is now controlled. I don't need an alarm clock to wake up at 5 in the morning. And when I wake up, I feel so rested, rejuvenated, and just ready for the day. It's been amazing. So I'm not having those digestive issues. I don't need to take Tums or pantoprazole or whatever else it is because my body is again in alignment and functioning as efficiently as it should be functioning. So that's what I do for self-care.
I
um,
love it. I love it.
and the other aspect of what I do has to do with financial wellness, because well-being is not only about your physical health, it's also about your spiritual health, your
That's
financial
right.
health, and
That's right.
emotional health, and everything tied in. So a few years ago, we actually, my husband and I, we made the intentional decision to become debt free.
Mhm.
Um, so I am in the process of being 100% debt free. We went there before, and you learn how to do the process, and so you get back into debt, and then you work yourself way out of it again. But once you figure out the rhythm and the pattern of it, and you know what it is that you want to accomplish, you just make it happen. For me, being a nurse is hard work,
Right.
and I needed to see more of my money. It
That's
I,
right.
I it was hard
Instead
work
of the
and
interest rates that's going to everybody else, right? Ain't nobody got
exactly,
time for that. Nope.
exactly. No, it's crazy because Einstein says that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. Those who learn it earn it. Those who don't pay it. Once I heard that, I did not want to be paying interest on anything else. The
Anything.
only interest that should be paid is the one that's being paid to me.
Uh, Say it again. I love it. I love
so
it.
so I quickly learned, and even though I dragged my feet initially in the process of, because you are working, so you want to spend more of your money and do more luxury things and whatever. But once you learn the concept of handling your money, you realize that it's not only about the immediate things, but you also have to make those long-term plans,
That's
those
right.
investment plans, those wealth building plans that's not only going to give you enough for what you need to cover your expenses for this month, but also to create generational legacy for your family in the
That's
future.
right.
So that is something that also helps me to maintain my ability, stress resilience, being able to manage life, whatever else, knowing that I am taking care of my financial health as well. And I also teach other nurses how to do the same thing, how to handle their money so that they can see more of it, and so that they can make plans for the future that will help them and their families to have better and brighter future.
I love it. I love it. The deal is that there was a book that I read that is called The Millionaire Next Door, and it talks about, millionaires who live next door that you may not think are millionaires, because on the outside we go to these big beautiful neighborhoods and we think that those are millionaires. Many times they're not millionaires because it's on the outside, right? And
Yeah,
so the reality is that like you said, we have to be thinking 10 years down the road, right? 10 years down the road is
absolutely.
what we want to be thinking about, as opposed to living in it right now. I love it. I
Absolutely.
love
Like Dave Ramsey said, it's you
it.
don't
Living
want to live like
today
the
like no other.
Joneses.
That's right.
You don't want to be the Joneses at all.
That's right.
Yeah.
Representing like we got something that ain't got nothing at all.
Right? Absolutely. No, I don't want to look like I have it. I want to actually have
I exactly,
it.
exactly. Now,
So,
I guess we have already went into the reason you created another stream of income, and then the first reason why you went into the business was to create your own health and wealth, because health is equated to wealth, right?
absolutely.
I say it.
If you're not, well, many people find their wealth by having ill health. Once your health starts failing, you find means and ways to be resourceful.
Mhm.
And oftentimes that results in people finding ways to build wealth. But again, if your health is diminishing to where you're constantly stressed and you can't function efficiently, you're not being the best person you can be for your family, you're not showing up for your kids, you're not showing up for your spouse, you're not showing up for your job, you're just because you are off centered, your health is not in good standing. It creates a whole ripple effect that drains the life out of not just you, but everybody else around you. So,
That's
yes,
exactly
your
right.
health is your greatest wealth.
That's right. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, I guess we have answered this question too. Do you feel that nurses should have a second stream of income? And then tell why.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us why.
Absolutely. again, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And at the end of the day, nursing again is a very, very stressful and demanding job. And having to rely on that one source of income, some people can start feeling resentment towards their job to where it's not even as pleasurable as it should be, because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have to go to this job so I can pay these bills. You
Mhm.
have to do that. And you're constantly keeping having to work to sustain yourself. Having a second stream of income that is passive and residual gets you that automated income whether or not you work. I mean, you do have to put some work in. I'm not
Right,
saying
right,
you don't
right.
have to, you do have to put work in. But having that residual income, and then not only having a residual income, but also being able to invest that which you make so that your money can work for you.
Why are you
Once
sleeping?
interest starts working on your behalf, you will not be able to work hard enough to keep up with what you're earning.
That's right. That's right. While you're sleeping, while you're sleeping. Now, what
Mhm.
are some of the challenges that you have faced going into business for yourself?
I would definitely have to say probably being confident in knowing that I am worthy and knowledgeable enough to share what it is that I have as an individual. Sometimes you get faced with that um, inferiority complex where you think that you're just not good enough as the other person who is making it or doing it. And again, you want to dim your light because you don't think that you meet up to certain standards or certain, expectations or whatever. But you just have to get over yourself and get started. Like, you just have to get started with whatever it is that you have to do. You got to get past yourself.
That's true. That's true. One of the things that I've had to do, like that show Being Like Mary Jane, I had used to put stickers all over my walls to say who I am because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm the lender and not the borrower. And God said that He would do exceedingly abundantly above more than we could ask or think. So I had to put those stickers all over my walls to let me know that this is who you are, my friend. This is who you are. Now,
Those are good affirmations.
that's right. That's right. Now, who has impacted your leadership the most and why?
Definitely a village for me. When they say it takes a village to um, build a child or raise a child, it's definitely been several of my pastors in the past in Jamaica that have um, really believed in me in my younger days when, I mean, they saw more of what was possible for me than I saw for myself. And so just having that strong rooted connection with people who believes in what you can do has greatly been something that has been influential for me. So not just one person, but everyone who has had heart enough to believe that there was something greater or something better that I could be doing has definitely been something that has propelled me to want to be more, do more, and be of um, blessing to the communities wherever it is that I am.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it that people poured into you when you were younger. Now, how do you define success?
Success for me is that would definitely have to be accomplishing that which you set out to do on a personal level, and then reflecting on what it is that you've accomplished as an individual and celebrating what it is that you accomplish, and not getting caught up in comparison of other people's accomplishment and other people's journey.
That's
So
right.
being successful for me, looking back and celebrating the things that I've accomplished and that I have been able to overcome to get to where I am at this point. So
I
it's a
love it.
moving target
I love
always.
it. I love it that you said that, comparison, because comparison is the thief of all joy, right? The thief. Now, how do you define wealth? Kemeisha, are you still with me?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. How do you define wealth?
Having an abundance to not only sustain yourself and your family, but being able to pour out into your wider community as well. So it
Gotcha.
could be an abundance of money, which is, I'm not saying I don't want more of that always. And to, but you can, it doesn't always have to be money. It can having an abundance of joy and love and just having an abundance of whatever it is that you have and sharing it with those around you. So yeah, that definitely for me is wealth. Um, I am a part of a charity that supports education in Haiti, and we started off sponsoring 15 children, just my friend and I and a few more friends, and now we're able to support 191 children with
I love it.
education in Haiti. So
Wow.
for us, it's not that we have money like that to where we can just, go out and change the world, but it's having the heart to want to make a difference in somebody else's life. And even if it's one child at a time, even if it's one person at a time, whatever it takes, it doesn't have to be all about having thousands or millions of dollars to give, though I do wish that we get to that point.
Right, right.
But yeah, it's starting with what you have and where you are and going from there.
Gotcha. Now, where can someone find you and your products?
Well, in Kemeisha Imari on Facebook, I also have a YouTube channel, Intentional Nurse Life Balance, where I share many stories on becoming debt free as a nurse, as well as what has helped me to overcome the gastrointestinal issues that I've been having. So, Kemeisha Imari on Facebook and Intentional Nurse Life Balance on YouTube.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So thank you for showing up here today. My name is Dr. Viola Pierce. I'm the CEO and the VP Nursing and the Nurse Nurturer and the facilitators for Secret Suppers Worldwide with Dr. V, where our goal is to equip healthcare professionals to be wealthy in all areas of their lives. Our goal is to come to you each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to give you the fuel to crush your goals to show up exceptional on a daily basis. Know that one of the goals of Morning Infusion with Dr. V is to expose you to leaders such as Kemeisha that have overcome so that you know that the possibilities are endless. You can follow us on Twitter at the Nurse Nurturer, Instagram at VP Nursing. If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and please share this video. We have a group called the Nurse Nurturer on Facebook that you can join to receive uplifting content for healthcare professionals. Visit us at our website at vpnursing.com and remember to click the Calendly link above if you want to create another stream of income and leverage the knowledge that you already know as a nurse. Y'all have a great day.